This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to the final offering. Bearing any breaking news here from the Oilers tonight. This is video number 4 of the evening, and I promised, I think a couple of videos ago, I hinted I'd have something in the works here, something bigger. And this is that something bigger today, breaking down my top 5 rankings for the Oilers prospects at each position. And there's a lot to go over, a lot of players in the mix. And of course, it's top 5. And I mean, here's the thing. I will pretense all of these discussions with one very simple sentence. I am not a guy who has the time to watch the film of every single game every single Oilers prospect plays this season, last season, the year before. I don't got that much time, okay? So we gotta make sure to keep that in mind if you don't like where I have a guy ranked or you don't agree with it. So with that in mind, let's get into ranking number 5. We'll start 5, go to 1. It'll be pretty self-explanatory. If you've followed Dolany TV and the Edmonton Oilers for the past 2 to 3 years, you'd understand where I'm going, where these prospects are, and kind of how these guys are going to work on my list. So number 5 on the list, drum roll please. Number 5 coming in there at Tyler TULLIO, who was just drafted this past season, well, this off season, whatever you want to say. Came over from the Oshawa Generals in the 2019-2020 season. Had 66 points in 62 games played, 27 goals, 39 assists. Drafted 5th round, 126th overall. Part of that whole forward group. The only position the Oilers drafted was forward. I guess area of the ice, not exactly position. So Tyler TULLIO coming in at number 5. He's on there basically because really the Oilers don't have much else for centerman in the system, but at the same rate, he is that guy in the 5 spot, right? He's 18 years old. He'll play another year of major junior more than likely, and then head his way up to Bakersfield and start the climb, similar to how several of our prospects have done in the past couple of seasons. So TULLIO coming in at center at number 5 on my list. So let's get into number 4. We'll kind of get into more details in the top 3. The top 5 is just kind of basis rankings, right? That's where we're going. And AAPELI RASANEN, a guy we've already talked about, coming in at number 4 on my list. He has had himself an interesting little go here the past little bit. He was drafted 6th round, 153rd overall, 2016, way back when. And now he is currently with Kalpa in the Liga. And he's had 6 points in 11 games played, 3 goals, 3 assists. So he's not quite having that success that a guy like Jesse Puljujärvi is to some extent. But you know what? It's nice to see another guy in the Liga putting up points. Another guy in Europe for the Oilers going out there making a difference. He's played 11 games. And that only serves to see him get better at what he's doing at center. He's 22 years of age right now. So obviously this is a guy that, depending what happens here, the Oilers have to get him into the NHL lineup or the AHL lineup at some point here very quickly, and I guess we'll find out soon enough what the situation is there. He's got himself a situation in which he could sign with just the Condors, but with the AHL season up in kind of arms right now as to what happens with the NHL season will dictate a little with what happens with the AHL season. You got Rasanen, he needs to be signed August 15th, 2021, but right now a guy that fits comfortably into that 4 slot in the Oilers depth chart rankings in the top prospects at center at 4. So let's get into the top 3, shall we? The top 3 is obviously going to be a very easy debate and kind of a situation of where you were drafted dictates where you fall on my list. Not necessarily round-wise, but year-wise. If you get where I'm going, you can probably make the list 3 through 1 right now as it stands. So let's get up there to number 3, Dylan Holloway. You saw him score a goal all over Twitter last night in the return to play for the NCAA. He comes in at number 3 after being drafted 1st round, 14th overall by the Edmonton Oilers in this 2020 draft. now finds himself playing another year of NCAA hockey, so he's a year or two away from at least even sniffing NHL action, let alone Bakersfield action. So Dylan Holloway, a little bit of a report on him. He's got a sneaky good shot, similar to, I think a lot of people compared it to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, that goal last night. And that's what you want to see, right? We don't have enough guys that shoot the puck well like that. And it's not necessarily have a powerful shot, it's that sneaky good shot, right? That well-placed, well-screened, well-timed, everything shot that goes back in the net more often than not when he gets it off clean, which he did last night. And man, it is just a beauty of hockey to watch when a puck goes in the net just like that on the power play. Dylan Holloway coming in at number 3 only because the two guys ahead of him are quite a bit ahead of him, right? You think about a guy like coming in at number 2, playing for Vosby, Mr. RAPHAEL Lavoie, who everybody is enamored with this offseason or this hockey season or whatever's going on in the Allsvenskan, because RAPHAEL Lavoie playing on the worst team in the Allsvenskan, Vosby, and there he is just conveniently putting up beautiful numbers when it comes to getting the job done. May you want those numbers? Maybe I should shut up and give you those numbers. How about we do that? Hey, Tyson, good idea. 10 points in 14 games played for Vosby is RAPHAEL Lavoie. 8 goals, 2 assists. So, yeah, 10 points, 14 games. What are you talking about? Evan Bouchard's having way more fun than that. No, it's the big-time number there. 8 goals in the column in 14 games. You love to see that. That's not Jonathan Dahlin kind of numbers in the Allsvenskan. If you have a second, go check him out, what he's doing, an unsigned player for the San Jose Sharks. But 14 games played for RAPHAEL Lavoie, who was drafted second round, 38th overall. He's 20 years old now. He was a heck of a steal for the Edmonton Oilers, and he is starting to go out there, and I guess you could realistically say he is dominating the Allsvenskan by team standards. Not by the league standards, but by team standards. RAPHAEL Lavoie is dominating the Allsvenskan because his team is garbage. So, that said, you know what? Where does that leave us? That leaves us with one guy left. And I mean, this is the guy that everybody is pegging to come up and really be that forward that bubbles from prospect to pro within this season. And that would be none other than number 1 prospect at center for the Edmonton Oilers, as per Dolany TV, Ryan McLeod. And yes, EV Zug, very happy to have this guy, a guy who's coming in and done some great things for them, but realistically just looks like he's going to be an awesome pro, fit the Oilers very well. He plays a great game, and you know what? End of day, he's had 5 points in 9 games in the National League and had 3 points in 1 game in the Swiss Cup for EV Zug. And a guy that, you know what, you can't argue. Ryan McLeod is going to be special for the Oilers. He was a well-drafted player, second round, 40th overall in 2018. So that's where you see 2 guys in the second round go ahead of Dylan Holloway, just based on kind of the career trajectory and how close they are to being NHL ready. The 6'3" Ryan McLeod, 201 pounds. And you want a little bit of detail on him. I'll get you a little detail here. Expect breakout year, effortless skater, extremely fluid in all aspects, great speed and edges. That was back in 2017. And you want to see if that holds true for the 18-19 season. 38 points, then 24 with Saginaw Spirit. Yeah, you know what? He did all right. The 3 points in the playoffs, and now 23 points in 56 games with the Bakersfield Condors. For Ryan McLeod, you know what? It just is a perfect fit for the Edmonton Oilers. And if he can push into the lineup and get the job done, it's going to look very well. And you can go probably 1 through 4. Looks very, very solid for the Oilers. TULLIO looks like he could be a gem if he develops right. Obviously, we're not placing the expectations of a McLeod on TULLIO at this point. But 1 through 5, top prospects in the system at center for the Oilers. It's looking pretty dicey for other teams, not for us. It's looking good. It's looking really good for us. You think about a center core coming up the system in a guy like McLeod, followed by Lavoie, followed by Holloway. My goodness, I don't know any other team that's got a 1-2-3 punch in the top 5 prospect pool at one possession, especially center. outside of the Oilers that have it this good. Maybe somebody that has a top 10 pick in there, sure, okay, but when it comes to talking about 2 second rounders and a mid first rounder being that good of a 1-2-3 punch in the top 5 prospect pool at center, the Oilers are doing just dandy. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's edition, the kickoff edition of the top 5 prospects at each position for the Oilers. I'll leave it open to you to guess where the Oilers only have 4 prospects in the system. There's going to be one position, it'll be a top 4. But you know what? Chew on this. Do you agree? Don't you agree? What do you think? Based on ETA, based on potential, based on what they bring to the table, these are my 5 guys in such an order. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't pay much attention to the prospects, though, at best. So maybe I'm out to lunch. I'm Tyson Dolan TV, up on Out to Lunch.